I'm back. The Martian has landed, and it's time. We're going to do something a little different today. It's time for the first major piece of bonus content for the recent Escape to Ocean City video series where I tested the both the northern and western approaches to Ocean City. I have not yet tried the southern approach from Norfolk or the summer approach from Rehoboth. Get into why I call that one the summer approach during the tier list. So we're going to rank each of these agencies from S is the best to F is the worst that I actually rode. So there are two agencies that will not make the list at all. One, and that's because I did not ride either of them. Mark I intentionally avoided because of their foolishness of running diesel under the wire. It's completely ridiculous. It's totally preposterous, and they really need to get it together. And the other one is Ocean City Transit, which I really would have loved to have ridden and tried too, but unfortunately I foolishly missed the bus and didn't have time. So let's get into it. So the way this is gonna work is, now in a few cases I have separated different services when said services just seem to be doing their own thing. That said, but even if they are technically the same agency, so what I have done is I've printed out the names of all these different agencies and put them in this bag. We're going to shake them up and I'm going to draw them completely randomly. So let's get into the tier list. Give them a good shake there. Mix them up real good. Settle to the bottom. Looking good. Let's get into it. So let's see, who am I going to get first? Which agency am I going to get first? Okay, I'm not looking at what I'm drawing here. And what did I get? I got a bigger one. I got Bright, and it looks like I got Bright Bus Local Service. So this is a pretty low tier. This is a pretty low tier organization. So their two most useful routes. We're only doing local service here. I think with frequencies of only an hour. Oh, so before I get into this, we're gonna be ranking these by service connections, reliability, fare system, overall usefulness, which I admit is a little bit of a moving target, and sustainability, which is also potentially a bit of a moving target. And that's good. So Bright Bus, it's fairly low. So I think D tier is about right for this one, because let's see here, I'm gonna put it about in the, I'd say about the middle of D tier. Makes sense. Bus frequencies of only an hour, that's pretty bad. You know, I mean, the fare system, 50 cents, that's not too. Fares 50 cents for most rides, 25 for Stanton service. That's not too bad. I'm gonna say mid D tier makes sense. Connections, they do have the some connections to the Afton Express, which admittedly is their own service. We'll get to that later. And then they also have connections to two of the Virginia Breeze buses, although one of those connections only works Monday through Friday. So, yeah, we're not really talking about a very high tier organization, but they are good about not dropping trips, so I'd say D tier is about right. There we go. Sorry, out of focus for a minute. Okay, let's see. Going into the bag next, let's see who. I'm going to restir them. I'm going to reshuffle them just a bit here and see who did I get. MTA commuter bus. Oh boy, I've got a lot to say about these guys. So, the Maryland commuter buses, MTA is of course also New York calls theirs, so that's why I have to specify Maryland. So, they get a lot of mixed reviews. Some people think they should go high on the tier list, and some people think they go low. So there's technically their service between PAPCO, the Baltimore Light Rail, which is a very useful connection, and Annapolis is an MTA commuter bus. So, but most of their services only run a few times a day, and they're generally about $6 for the coach bus services. The Annapolis service on the 70 is a bit of an outlier, so I'm gonna say, as far as sustainability goes, they're going to get slightly higher marks than Bright because, well, Bright is 100% fossil fuel powered. MTA does a lot of these commuter buses are hybrids, so it's kind of half-assed, but they are making some attempt. I'm going to say about, it's kind of a tough one to place. I'm going to say about mid C tier. Makes sense for these guys. That, although, if you consider the services that they don't have, that drops them down. I'm going to say bottom of C tier. Just barely clear of D tier because they don't offer any service to Ocean City, which is a huge problem, as I documented very extensively. Hold on one second. Okay. And then, okay, who do I get next? Let's see here. I'm not looking. They're sticking together. Oh gosh, these guys. I got County Ride, Queen Anne's County. So, my first thought is solid F tier. Then again, they are kind of being asked, as far as connections go, I mean, they kind of are the connection, and that's really an organization this size. They are the key connection across the bay. And an organization this size should not be saddled with that kind of responsibility. That's a major failing of the MTA commuter bus system. So for that reason, I think that saves them from F tier. I'm going to put them in E tier, just barely. Okay. Probably should have pre-cut my tape. So, yeah. So, service, again, only available Monday through Friday. And they're doing this really weird hybrid service between fixed route and microtransit. It doesn't make any sense. They make deviations a certain distance from the fixed route, so it makes it really hard to tell when the bus is gonna come or even where to wait. Most of the stops are unmarked, very low tier operation, and they spammed me with MAGA propaganda when I was trying to ride over the bay. So just wonderful all the way around. Like I say, the only thing saving them from F tier is that they're being saddled with some burdens that an organization of this size should not have to deal with. That should be the state dealing with. Alright, let's give the bag another shake here. Really wish this thing would stay in focus. And we're gonna see what we get next. Got a small one. Okay, we got Dart. And yes, I have some things to say about these guys. So overall, Dart is pretty good. Some people might even put it in S tier. However, the beach buses that connect Rehoboth to Ocean City only run for half the year. So, and given that would have saved that would have cut literally 4 hours, maybe even 5, off my trip. I can understand those buses running less in the off season, but completely killing them, I think, is unacceptable. So for that reason alone, I can't give Dart an S tier rating. And some of the other service patterns were weird. They do use mostly hybrid buses, so they do have some level of sustainability, very small, but nonetheless, it's better than nothing. So I would give Dart, I think Dart, they really connect most of Delaware. They're very useful connections. Their fare system is a little bit confusing. I'd say upper A tier for Dart. So, let's see who we get next. Shake them up here. And we're going to... Okay, I got the Piedmont Express, part of the Virginia Breeze system. So the Piedmont Express, I was not impressed with a lot of their stops. Being out in the sticks. So I would say probably with no local transit access, I don't know that I really want to put them in D tier. I think some minor improvements could make it better. There's certainly no Dart. So, and the other routes have similar problems. The other Virginia Breeze routes have similar problems. But it does connect the entire state, and it's a little bit pricey, and you do have to buy the tickets online, so a bit exclusionary, but you can do it at the library. So we found ways around that. So yeah, I'd say C tier. Let's see what we get next. Give the bag a shake here, and we're gonna draw... Oh, they're all stuck together. Oh my goodness. Okay, what came out on top? Cat. From good old Charlottesville. So, Cat is pretty good. That they have useful connections to the Amtrak station is pretty well served, so that gives you lots of useful connections. They mostly use hybrid vehicles, a few sustainability points there, and they are going to, and for a city their size, admittedly it is a university town, they really do pretty darn good. They have 7-day-a-week connections. My biggest gripe with Cat is that they don't have, they're even free, so there is that. So that's good for people on low incomes, although could be argued that it's giving those on high incomes a free ride, literally. So I don't quite rank them as high as Dart, but for what they are, yeah, I think B tier makes sense for a Cat. I do wish they had a connection to the airport. I haven't tried MicroCat yet. I'm hoping to relatively soon. And so we're running them out here. Let's see what we get next. Shake up the bag here, and we're gonna get, okay, what'd I get? Delmarva Community Transit. Good old DCT. So these guys are actually pretty darn good. It's getting away. Alright, I got it now. Anyway, DCT is pretty darn good for what they are. I mean, they cover a huge area. I give them a bit of a, so $3 to get started per ride is a little expensive, but they give you they give you free transfer tickets, so that really helps. They don't run on weekends, so that's a bit of a problem, and their connection to county rides is really is pretty unreliable, as I found out. And their connection to Dart, they don't have a connection to Dart, which would solve a lot of these problems. And then another agency that's not going to make the list today because I didn't ride them, is Cecil Transit. A connection to them in the far north to allow people to go around the bay that way by catching the Northeast Corridor in northern Maryland would be super helpful. Admittedly, part of that is on Cecil Transit for not making that happen. I mean, Delmarva Transit, they're similar to Bright, and the bus frequency was not great. I'm gonna say, let's see here, I'm running out of room here. Should have made a bigger tier list. Anyway, I'm gonna say C tier. I'm gonna say, I think C tier makes sense for these guys. Lack of weekend service and useful connections, because let's face, their connection to shore transit is a joke, so that connection isn't very useful. So yeah, C tier makes sense. So we're gonna give the bag a shake, and it is time. Let's see what we get next. It's taking a little bit longer than I wanted it to. Okay, and I got Baltimore City buses. So these guys, they're kind of part of the MTA buses. But now I rode the Gold Line, which is one of their premier lines, and it was hugely overcrowded. I don't know why they don't use articulated buses. It's probably not in the city budget. And then I really like that they had the dedicated lane for that. So I would say, yeah, the Baltimore City Bus Network really does handle itself well. And they mostly use hybrid vehicles, getting some points on sustainability. So yeah, the $2 a ride is not terrible. So yeah, B tier makes sense. Let's give this and we're going to give the bag another shake. Who are we going to get next? I got the Afton Express, which is admittedly part of Bright. So the Afton Express offers some really good connections in Charlottesville, but the connections in the valley absolutely suck in the morning, having to walk. They forced me to where the first leg of my journey was a 5-kilometer walk to catch this darn bus. Now, the Afton Express was launched in order to primarily to help hospital patients get to the doctors in the valley, reach UVA Medical Center. Well, chances are those patients who, for medical reasons, cannot drive also will not be able to walk 5 kilometers or more. I'm actually kind of lucky. I live relatively close compared to a lot of people. So, yeah, it's solid D tier. It's extremely important service, so I can't really put it in E or F, but I'm gonna go. So, but definitely a lot of problems. So gonna go with D. All right, give the bag a shake here, and let's see what we get next. Baltimore Light Rail is the winner for this round. So Baltimore Light Rail, yes, definitely some useful connections. I really wish they had a better connection to Penn Station and the NEC. It was trying to find Penn Station that put me off course. Now I ended up on the Baltimore City bus. So the Baltimore Light Rail frequency, not so great. But of course this is the first example of actual rail transit, and it is zero, as well as the first example of zero emissions transit that I've come up with. Man, and they do have some useful connections. I'm going to say they're going to go in, and if they extended them, it would be really nice if they extended it to Annapolis, but that would probably be too expensive. I'm going to say, might be a bit of a controversial take here, but I'm going to say B tier. Probably high B tier. So let's give the bag another shake and see what we get. There's not much left. And I got WMATA. Yes. So I only rode the DC streetcar on this trip, but I've ridden other WMATA services before. So yes, WMATA, and they also have a massive bus network. it does kind of stink that they killed off the DC circulator buses, but they still have many frequent buses. So, and with the expansion, so connections, obviously, Union Station is amazing. And of course, they do have the help that they are the massive, a truly massive agency. They also offer a huge amount of electrified rail transit across 2 states and the District of Columbia. Yeah, I mean, but they do have some maintenance issues that I think are going to knock them out of S tier. So I'm going to say top of A tier. So let's give these a shake here. And let's see what we get. Ooh, and I got the Amtrak NEC. Now we're getting all the sustainable ones now. So the NEC, now I'm only ranking the NEC and its services right now. Services offered by Amtrak, that is. I know the rest of Amtrak has some serious problems, but it's kind of not their fault because they're stuck on freight railroads. But I am going to say, yeah, the NEC, frequency, service, sustainability. There are some maintenance issues that are going to knock them down a little bit, but those are being worked on. So I'm going to say, yeah, might be a bit of a controversial take here, but I'm going to say S tier. Okay. Give it a shake here. There's not much left. And I got Greyhound, which also includes FlexBus, by the way. I just put Greyhound because that's what I rode this time. So, Greyhound. I got lucky. My bus was on time. I didn't have any issues. Did have to listen to that mind-numbingly stupid podcast the whole way, which also contaminated some of my footage. I was not thrilled about that. Anyway, where should I put Greyhound? They have been trying to do them killing stops, but they do serve a lot of areas. They did have some very useful connections for me. So, I don't quite know. Let's see here. You know what? But they're not, I can't really say that they're being asked to do something that they shouldn't have to do, so I can't really put them in E tier. I'm kind of torn between D and F tier. I'm going to go D tier. I'm really sick of them killing off stops. But for now, they're going to go in D tier. But if they lose more stops, they could easily end up in F tier. And put them at the very bottom of D tier. I think that's fair. Okay, there's only one left. So there's no point in shaking the bag. So we don't need that anymore. And that would be our notorious Shore Transit. And you can see where these guys are going. Straight into F. I had exactly enough tape. Straight into F tier. These guys dropping trips I know they're a small agency, but then again, you know, so is Bright, so is DCT, even CAT is not huge, and they do so much better than Shore Transit. These guys, they drop trips like hot potatoes. Every day they're dropping multiple trips. It's really sad. They don't run on weekends. $3 a ride. No, if it was free or at least very cheap, then you could make the argument that it should go a little higher because they don't because you know you're getting what you pay for, but it's not. It's $3 per ride, no transfers. Their connection to they only have really one useful connection, and that's to Dart. Well, they do connect to DCT, and so that's a useful connection. And it's just really sad all the way around that and they should they they just run they're just really run very poorly all the way around. So I would say, so there we go. There's my tier list of these transit agencies. And some of these got nerfed because of one or two issues. And some of them, but yeah, overall it was Shore Transit and county rides were really what gave me a particularly negative experience, although admittedly I did get lucky with Greyhound. But the rest of them did pretty good. And so there's my tier list. The Martian is taking off.